Let's begin in the Middle East, where the war between Israel and Hamas is yet to note an end, or is yet to come to an end. The Red Cross says 22 Palestinians have been killed near its office in Gaza. This comes as the UN warns against further escalation of the war to other regions. We have a report.
The International Committee of the Red Cross says 22 persons who had sought shelter around its office in Gaza have been killed and its offices damaged by shellings. It adds that no precaution was taken to avoid harm to civilians and humanitarian facilities. An Israeli Defense Forces spokesman says the incident is under review. On the flip side, senior U.S. officials this week reassured a delegation of top Israeli officials visiting Washington that if a full-blown war were to break out on Israel's border with Lebanon between Israeli forces and Hezbollah, the Biden administration is fully prepared to back its ally. The assurances come amid an increase in cross-border attacks in recent weeks between Israel and the Iran-backed Hezbollah group. In reaction, the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says Lebanon cannot become another Gaza, warning that the continuation of hostilities between Israeli soldiers and Hezbollah creates the risk of triggering a catastrophe beyond imagination. His warning comes as Israel steps up its strike in the Gaza Strip, where fighting has continued from Friday to Saturday morning.
A senior U.S. State Department official, Andrew Miller, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Israeli-Palestinian Affairs, says he has decided to quit his job. He cited his family, explaining he has been seeing them sparingly. Mr. Miller told his colleagues that if not for those responsibilities, he would have preferred to remain on his job and fight for what he believes, including areas where he disagreed with administrative policy. His resignation comes amid growing frustration inside and outside the U.S. government over the civilian death toll in the war, and concerns among some that influence over policy matters has been dominated by a narrow clique of President Joe Biden's closest advisors. Let's now turn our attention away from the Middle East to the Russian-Ukraine war. Russia has reportedly carried out a big strike against Ukraine's power grid. This is as it gives a warning to South Korea not to supply Ukraine with weapons of war. We have an update.
In its latest onslaught, the Ukrainian government says its energy facilities came under a massive attack from Russia overnight. Ukraine's energy ministry says it is the 8th time Russia has launched an attack on energy infrastructure facilities in the past 3 months. The Ukrainian Air Force says air defense systems shot down 12 of 16 missiles and all of 13 drones launched by Russia at several regions through the night. Ukrainian government officials add that 2 energy workers were wounded and taken to a hospital in the Zaporizhzhia region, and energy equipment was damaged in the western city of Lviv. President Volodymyr Zelensky recently said Moscow had destroyed half of his country's electricity generating capacity since it began attacking its energy facilities in March. Still making attempts to maintain the position of the aggressor, President Vladimir Putin has warned South Korea it would be making a big mistake if it arms Ukraine in the war against Russia. His comments come after South Korea said it is considering such a possibility in response to Russia and North Korea's New Deal to help each other in the event of any aggression against both countries. South Korea had earlier condemned the Russian-North Korean agreement as a threat to its national security, and National Security Advisor Chang Hong-jin had said his country plans to reconsider the issue of arms support to Ukraine.
Reactions have been trailing the proposal by Russia's President Vladimir Putin on the